everyone, I'm Rob Ladd. Thanks for joining us for the Cavalier Sports Report. 2 weeks ago, the men's tennis team captured their 10th conference region title while the women's team finished second. Now, they don't have any meets this week, but that doesn't mean that they'll be without competition. I'm joined now by men's and women's tennis coach Glen Moser. Coach Moser, thanks for being with us this morning.
Glad to be here, Rob.
We'll start off kind of where we finished last week, and that's with the conference regional finish and how the women did. You know, you were very pleased with how they finished up.
Yeah, the ladies, we had two flight champions, Tracy Cooper at number 2 singles, and actually Tracy hasn't lost a match all year long at number 2, so we're really hoping to get her seated at the national tournament. And then Casey Spencer and Jamie Hertling at number 3 doubles, who we just put together the week before regionals, ended up winning a long 3-set match to win the regional title. And then all the other ladies on the team either finished second or third in their flight. Together add all the points up, but we finished a strong second, and they take the top 3 teams at our regional to the national tournament. So we're going out there right now ranked 9th in the country, and you know, our first goal is to live up to that ranking. And then, you know, individually, you know, we have several spots where they could do some very good accomplishments at their spot. So,
now, the women's and men's team have kind of been hampered by injuries, and that's something that's kind of been the theme of many of our interviews. So, were you surprised at the way things kind of have come together at the end of the season?
Well, you know, we're just hoping these injuries, even now the girls at regionals weren't 100%. We had 2 of them kind of hobbling. Casey Spencer probably would have played singles for us, but her knee just wasn't up for that, so she played doubles and, of course, won the region titles. And doubles is her specialty. But it's nice to have Evan Santa back on our men's team. That just really makes us solid because he's playing at the top of our lineup. So, you know, we're 90% healthy right now, and I guess that's good. And, you know, I think it's going to be good enough to have good performances at nationals from our team. So,
and you're looking at those injuries, you don't want to practice too hard, but since you guys don't have meets this week, you've told me that doesn't mean you guys aren't going to be competitive.
Right. I mean, sometimes some of their best competition is their teammates, and they've known each other, some of them for 2 years now, and played each other, and they'll hit together at practice, but a lot of times players, they just, for whatever reason, don't like to play against each other, but we make them do that and get after it just like they were at the tournament. And so really some of their best competitions are teammate, and right now we are so equal in depth, particularly in our men, that, you know, if our number 1 guy is playing our number 5 guy, believe me, they can both benefit from that match and get pushed. So that's the beauty of having a team with quality depth. And so, yeah, we'll rotate this week, and hopefully next week when the women are at the national tournament, one of my assistants is going to take the men to Northwest Missouri, and I see they just won the MIAA conference, which is a good tennis conference. They beat Washburn the other day, so there'll be good competition for us right before nationals.
Yeah, and you had mentioned kind of jumping back to practice for a moment. We're going to have Luca on the program later on. You said that when he and Evan Santa go together, that it can be a pretty feisty match.
Oh yeah, and yet they're doubles partners, but you never know that when they're playing singles against each other. But that's the way we like it. I mean, we want these guys to compete, play hard, and yeah, it's a kind of really enjoyable to watch them play. It literally gets down to a couple points typically in their matches.
Well, let's talk about Luca for just a minute, since we're going to have him on the program later on. He hails from Belgrade, Serbia, comes over to the United States and is a foreign exchange student for a semester. How did you find Luca, and what has he meant to the program for the last 2 years?
Well, interesting story there. One of my players that I recruited a few years ago out of Oklahoma, McAlester, Oklahoma, Grant Pretty, went on, and then later he's become my assistant coach, and he was my assistant 2 years ago, and heard the coach at the high school had contacted and said, I've got a pretty good player here that's an exchange student. And so we got in touch with Luca, and it just so happened they were having the state tournament in Oklahoma when we were on our way to nationals to Dallas. And so we stopped the van, all the players went and watched the tournament on. We watched Luca play. I think he finished third in his flight, or A or AA, whatever it is, in Oklahoma, but he finished third, and we happened to watch him in that third place match. Had a great serve and tons of athletic potential. And I had decided right at that time that he would be one of our 2 scholarships that were allowed for international players, and it's really worked out well. Luca actually came here, and I think was a little surprised at the competition level. You know, the team we had last year, which probably was our best team ever. He's a number 4 type player last year, but I had 2 sophomores playing 4 and 5, so he played 6, made it to the quarterfinals at nationals, and then he was an All-American at number 3 doubles, finishing second. Just lost 7-5 in the 3rd set. So, and then this year he's moved up from 6 to 3, had a really good season, very respectable. Finished second in the region, lost a tough 3-setter. But just swept through 1 double. So he moved up from 3 doubles to 1 doubles with Evan. They won the championship 6-2, 6-love. And, you know, that's the kind of improvement we'd like everybody to make here from their freshman and their sophomore year. And I know he'll find a nice 4-year college, you know, scholarship in the near future.
Now, when you've got a player like Luca that has a pretty successful freshman season and gets those All-American accolades, how do you continue to push and motivate him to get better? And do you set expectations at the beginning of the year? What do you do for your players?
Right. Well, I think Luca, just by the simple fact of where he was playing in our lineup, you know, I mean, I'll come up to a player like our 6th player this year. I mean, I'm going to tell him I'd like him to play 3 or 4 singles and 2 doubles next year, and he's playing 6 singles and 3 doubles this year. So, you know, we move the bar up, and, you know, a guy like Luca, though, he's just totally dedicated, and his conditioning level's high. You don't really have to push him too much, to be honest with you. So he knows what he wants to accomplish, and he'll set forth that goal and accomplish it.
Well, I know he's got high expectations heading into the national tournament. Coach, we'll see if we can get you in next week and kind of preview the Northwest Missouri match and then kind of head into the national tournament. So thanks for being with us this morning.
Great. Thanks a lot, Rob.
Thanks again for joining us on the Cavalier Sports Report. For Coach Glen Moser, I'm Rob Ladd. We'll see you next time.